A Dying Breed is about war and journalism, and it's about a character called William Carver, who's an awkward, unloved, unlovable old hack, a dying breed, some might say, who is caught up in a story that he doesn't completely understand but that he knows is important. And it's a thriller which tries to explore ideas about how you tell truth in a time of war. And it's also, hopefully in a kind of Graham Greene, Le Carre mould, it's about those shades of grey that are so interesting.
It's fantastically well reviewed. Congratulations, because this is your first book. It is a classic thriller of the old style, old school, isn't it? Tell me more about the structure and the plot.
Yes, those old, exactly as you say, those old thriller writers, the Eric Amblers and the old Graham Greenes, and those are the writers that I love, that I go back to again and again. So I tried to use them as inspiration. The plot took quite a long time to come up with. It took me a long time to write the book. I didn't know for a long time exactly what the book was. I just knew that I loved writing. So it was around the time of Iraq and then Afghanistan, working for the BBC, that it seemed to me that there was a story to be told about journalists at war, and that the best form to do it was in a fictional form for me, because you could hopefully tell a deeper truth.
What do you think it tells us about that relationship between the establishment and journalists at a time of war? Because you worked on the Today programme, which is at the epicentre of a huge row that the fallout from which meant the BBC lost Greg Dyke. The Hutton Report has really changed the way the BBC is organised and run.
Yes.
So what did it feel like being there at that time?
It was fascinating, slightly terrifying. I described the book as sort of a worm's eye view, but I was sitting in those rooms when that sort of face-off between Alistair Campbell on one side and Greg Dyke on the other, the government versus the BBC, all blew up, and we've found out since that obviously the truth wasn't told. That a lot of people were misled, that weapons of mass destruction didn't exist. And so working there at that time, when we were endlessly discussing various UN resolutions to see whether this war was legal or not, when millions of people were on the streets of London and many other cities saying they didn't want this war, being in a spot where the various political figures and the military figures and the big beasts of the journalistic world were all sort of bashing horns was fascinating, and sometimes not edifying but always interesting.
Do you think the BBC got it right?
I think certain journalists got it right. Whether they got to tell the story quite as loudly enough as they should have done is another question. We at least kept asking awkward questions, and I think people heard that. The public heard that and respected that, and so it wasn't perfect, but it was better than most.
Your character, as you say, is very unlikable, but we end up liking him. How did you do that?
Yes. Well, that's the kind of character that I love. You've worked in journalism for a long time as well. You know these people exist, that you wouldn't necessarily want to be their best friend. You might not even want to go down the pub with them, but you know they need to exist. They're awkward, ornery bastards, men and women, who only really care about getting to the truth. And I think through the journey that the book takes you on, hopefully you realise that commitment to that job is more important than the fact that he's not clubbable, he's not lovable, and he's not someone you want to take home to your.
So we like him because we respect him.
Yeah, I think we respect him, and we also learn that he has a softer side. It's way down there. It's sort of buried very, very deep, and he's been very, very damaged by what happened to him during the reporting of the Iraq War, and it's taken some time to get over that.
You grew up round here, I believe.
Yeah, I grew up just around the corner in Grove Park. My mum bought a house for £12,000. I don't know what you can buy for £12,000 in Chiswick anymore.
Not even a car, I don't think.
Oh, right.
So you went to Chiswick School?
Yeah, I went to, that key part of me learning to love books was studying English at Chiswick Comp, and I really still have a huge soft spot for it. We were in, I'm sure and I hope it has improved since then, but we were in sort of porter cabins for quite a long time, named strange things like sort of Chatsworth and Hogarth, but we always had good English teachers, and I'm sure the department's still strong.
You obviously enjoyed your time there.
I love my time there. Yeah, it's exactly what we've tried to find for our children, is the sort of the local state school with mix of the local community all learning together. So no, I love Chiswick, and it's lovely being back here.